remain at a 30-year low. The truth is, supply and demand imbalances. Population growth, growing incomes in developing countries and biofuels are all generating strong demand. Changing climate conditions, degraded soils, scarcity of arable land and irrigated water and very high fertiliser prices are limiting the capacity of farmers to increase supply. And the problem is compounded by outdated agricultural practices and restrictive trading regimes. We are less able to predict the conditions under which food will be available. Now, why does that all matter? Well, even before prices started rising dramatically, nearly 10,000 children were dying from causes related to malnutrition every day. More than 800 million people were going to sleep every night hungry. And of the 2 billion people in the Asia-Pacific region living on less than $2 a day, most of the family income for those people was spent on food. They are highly vulnerable people at the best of times, and when food becomes short or expensive, when people lose the right or the opportunity to grow or purchase food, they are in serious trouble. And trouble of this magnitude can lead to social instability and a drop in economic growth. As government agencies and non-government organisations concerned with poverty, these changes demand different responses. First, we must deal with the immediate crises. The Australian government contributes to emergency funds such as those set up by the World Food Programme to feed people in times of crisis. And we support, for example, a new fund set up by the World Bank to distribute seeds and fertilisers to farmers and help provide safety nets for poor people. But we also need to look to the long term. Certainly, the Australian Government will be increasing our support for the research to lift agricultural productivity in staple crops, getting better seed varieties and farming techniques for poorer farmers. We will be looking at ways to improve rural livelihoods by helping to solve market failures that the rural poor encounter, such as access to land, legal frameworks, access to insurance and finance markets, rural infrastructure and transport networks. And we will work to help build community resilience to shocks by strengthening social protection systems. We need to be able to protect the poor at times like this so they can continue to build a future for themselves and for their families. And we will continue to lobby hard for liberalisation in agricultural trade to maximise returns to farmers and ensure food goes where it's needed as efficiently and as effectively as possible. The UN estimates the world's population will reach 9 million people by the year 2050, and that is a lot of people to feed. Meeting demand will require some innovative thinking. Women, by and large, are the world's farmers. They are the ones who spend hours every day in the fields and raising vegetables and raising animals, and they are generally responsible for cooking family meals, yet during shortages they are also the ones who often end up with the smallest portion. In any response to the food crisis, we must harness the resources of those who know the most. People can't be expected to put their savings into even a small orchard if they do not know whether the higher prices will make that investment worthwhile, or whether they will still have access to the land when the trees start to bear fruit, or whether their crops will be able to reach markets in a timely manner. At face value, these things seem small, but they lie at the heart of a much bigger and more complex set of issues. We have to respond quickly, but we have to get our responses right. And that means including communities in discussions over future directions, and that's actually what makes this seminar so valuable. Thank you.